Texas has one of the biggest and most complex prison systems in America, managing a massive network of correctional facilities spread across the state. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice oversees hundreds of thousands of inmates, parolees, and correctional operations every year. Due to the state's large population and strict criminal justice policies, Texas prisons have expanded into enormous institutions capable of housing thousands of prisoners within a single facility. Many of these prisons are designed with maximum security structures that include reinforced walls, armed guard towers, electronic surveillance systems, razor wire fencing, and tightly controlled inmate movement. These facilities operate almost like self-contained cities, with their own medical units, cafeterias, workshops, educational areas, security checkpoints, and administrative offices. The prison system in Texas became nationally recognized because of its size, strict discipline, and the number of high-risk offenders housed within its facilities. Some prisons contain inmates serving life sentences, death row prisoners, gang leaders, and individuals convicted of violent crimes. Managing such a large inmate population requires thousands of correctional officers, security personnel, medical workers, and administrative staff working around the clock. Texas prisons are also known for their industrial and labor programs, where inmates may participate in manufacturing, agriculture, maintenance, or vocational training inside prison grounds. Large prison farms and work programs have historically been a major part of the Texas correctional system for decades. Because of overcrowding concerns and rising incarceration rates over the years, Texas invested heavily in building larger and more secure prisons capable of handling long-term incarceration. As a result, several of the state's correctional facilities became some of the largest maximum security prisons in the entire country. The Allan B. Polunsky Unit is one of the most heavily guarded and widely recognized maximum security prisons in Texas. Located near Livingston, the facility became nationally known because it houses the male death row population for the state of Texas. Inmates sentenced to death are kept under extremely strict conditions with constant surveillance and intense security procedures designed to prevent escape, violence, or unauthorized communication. The prison was originally opened in the early 1990s and was later renamed after Allan B. Polunsky, a former chairman of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice. Over time, the unit developed a reputation as one of the toughest correctional facilities in the United States due to the dangerous offenders held inside its walls. Death row inmates at the Polunsky Unit are typically housed in single-person cells for long periods under highly controlled routines. Security measures include reinforced steel doors, electronic monitoring systems, multiple security checkpoints, and armed correctional officers stationed throughout the facility. Prisoners are escorted under strict supervision whenever they leave their cells, even for medical visits or recreation periods. The prison contains specialized housing areas for inmates considered especially violent, disruptive, or high risk. Many prisoners housed there are serving life sentences or have histories of gang involvement, assaults, or escape attempts. Because of this, correctional staff undergo extensive training to manage dangerous situations and maintain order within the facility. Inside the Polunsky Unit, daily life follows rigid schedules controlled by prison administration. Meals, recreation, visitation, and inmate movement are carefully timed and monitored. Communication with the outside world is limited, and many inmates spend most of their time inside isolated housing units. The facility has also been the subject of public debate and media attention regarding prison conditions, inmate isolation, mental health concerns, and the broader use of capital punishment in Texas. Human rights organizations, legal experts, and criminal justice researchers have frequently discussed the conditions inside the prison because of the long-term confinement experienced by death row inmates. Despite the controversy, the Polunsky Unit remains one of the most important facilities in the Texas prison system, serving as a central location for managing some of the state's most dangerous and closely monitored prisoners. The James V. Allred Unit is one of the largest and most significant correctional facilities in the Texas prison system. Located near Iowa Park in northern Texas, this maximum security prison is designed to hold thousands of inmates under highly controlled conditions. Because of its large inmate population and extensive security operations, the Allred Unit plays a major role in the management of high-risk offenders within the state. Named after former Texas Governor James V. Allred, the prison was established to support the growing correctional demands of Texas during a period when incarceration rates were rapidly increasing. Over time, the facility expanded into a massive institution equipped with reinforced security infrastructure, multiple inmate housing sections, surveillance systems, and specialized control areas. The prison houses a wide range of offenders, including inmates convicted of violent crimes, repeat offenders, gang-affiliated prisoners, and individuals serving lengthy sentences. Due to the size of the inmate population, the facility operates with strict organizational procedures to maintain order and security throughout the prison grounds. Inside the Allred Unit, inmate movement is tightly scheduled and monitored by correctional staff. Security checkpoints, electronic gates, and surveillance cameras are used throughout the facility to reduce risks and prevent disturbances. Correctional officers patrol housing areas continuously while specialized response teams remain prepared to handle emergencies or violent incidents. The prison is structured almost like a self-contained community. It contains medical services, dining halls, educational classrooms, recreation areas, administrative offices, and vocational training sections. Inmates may participate in work assignments, maintenance programs, industrial labor, or educational opportunities depending on their classification and behavior records. One of the most challenging aspects of operating a prison as large as the Allred Unit is managing inmate safety and preventing conflicts among different groups within the population. Prison administrators must constantly monitor gang activity, disciplinary issues, and overcrowding concerns while maintaining strict daily routines. The facility is also known for its layered security design. Perimeter fencing topped with razor wire surrounds the prison, while guard towers and controlled access points provide additional protection. High-security housing areas are separated from general population sections to ensure tighter control over dangerous inmates. Because of its enormous scale, the Allred Unit requires a large workforce of correctional officers, healthcare workers, counselors, maintenance staff, and administrators who operate around the clock. The prison functions continuously every day, with strict schedules governing meals, head counts, recreation, visitation, and inmate transportation. The James V. Allred Unit represents the size and complexity of modern maximum security incarceration in Texas, reflecting the challenges involved in managing one of the largest prison populations in the United States. The Huntsville Unit is the oldest prison in the state of Texas and one of the most historically important correctional facilities in the United States. Established in 1849, the prison has operated for more than a century and a half, making it a central part of Texas criminal justice history. Often referred to simply as the Walls Unit, because of its massive red brick walls surrounding the complex, the facility became the foundation of the modern Texas prison system. Located in the city of Huntsville, the prison was built during a period when Texas was still developing its state institutions. In the early years, prison operations were far different from today's highly organized correctional systems. Inmates were often used for manual labor, construction projects, farming, and industrial work that supported both the prison and the surrounding economy. The Huntsville Unit became known for its imposing architecture, featuring thick brick walls, guarded entrances, and secured cell blocks designed to prevent escapes and maintain strict discipline. Over time, the facility expanded and modernized, adding new housing sections, administrative offices, medical areas, and security systems while still preserving many of its historic structures. Because of its long history, the prison witnessed major changes in American correctional practices across different eras. It operated during times when prison conditions were extremely harsh and discipline methods were far more severe than modern standards. Throughout the decades, the prison adapted to changing laws, human rights standards, and advancements in prison management technology. The Huntsville Unit also became deeply connected to Texas prison administration. For many years, it served as the headquarters for important correctional operations and housed key administrative offices within the Texas prison system. Due to its historical significance, the facility remains one of the most recognized prisons in the country. Inside the prison, inmates have historically participated in various labor programs, including agriculture, textile production, maintenance work, and manufacturing activities. These programs were considered part of inmate discipline and prison operations for generations. The prison's location in Huntsville transformed the city itself into a center closely associated with corrections and criminal justice. Over time, Huntsville became widely known as a prison town because of the large number of correctional facilities and prison-related institutions located in the area. Many residents worked directly or indirectly within the correctional system. The Huntsville Unit has also appeared in documentaries, books, news reports, and historical studies because of its age, architecture, and role in the development of incarceration in Texas. Historians and criminal justice researchers often study the prison to understand how correctional systems evolved from the 19th century into the modern era. Despite modernization efforts, parts of the original prison structure still remain, preserving the historic identity of one of America's oldest continuously operating prisons. The Huntsville Unit stands as a symbol of the long and complex history of punishment, security, and correctional administration in Texas. The Huntsville Unit is not only the oldest prison in Texas, but it is also internationally known for housing the state's execution chamber. For decades, this facility has been the central location where the state of Texas carries out capital punishment for inmates sentenced to death. Because Texas has conducted more executions than any other U.S. state in modern history, the Huntsville Unit became one of the most recognized execution sites in the world. The execution chamber is located within a secured section of the prison that is isolated from the general inmate population. Access to this area is highly restricted and controlled by specially trained correctional staff. Security procedures surrounding executions are extremely strict, involving multiple inspections, locked checkpoints, surveillance systems, and carefully coordinated operations carried out according to state law and prison regulations. Before executions take place, inmates sentenced to death are typically transferred from the Allan B. Polunsky Unit, where male death row prisoners are housed, to the Huntsville Unit. This transfer usually occurs shortly before the scheduled execution date under heavy security escort. Historically, Texas used different methods of execution over the years. In earlier decades, executions at the Huntsville Unit were carried out using the electric chair, which became one of the most feared symbols of capital punishment in Texas history. The electric chair used at the prison was famously nicknamed Old Sparky. Later, Texas switched to lethal injection, which remains the state's current method of execution. The execution chamber itself is designed with extreme simplicity and security. It contains the equipment used for lethal injection procedures, observation windows, medical apparatus, and secured access areas for prison officials and authorized personnel. Witness rooms are located nearby, allowing approved individuals such as journalists, victims' family members, attorneys, and selected prison staff to observe the procedure according to state rules. Execution days involve highly coordinated planning inside the prison. Correctional officers, medical personnel, administrative officials, legal representatives, and security teams all participate in different stages of the process. Inmates are monitored closely in the hours leading up to the execution, while prison administrators remain in communication with courts and government authorities in case of last-minute legal appeals or delays. The Huntsville Execution Chamber has been at the center of national and international debates about capital punishment, criminal justice, and human rights. Supporters of the death penalty argue that executions serve as punishment for the most serious crimes and provide justice for victims. Opponents raise concerns about wrongful convictions, ethical issues, inmate mental health, and the morality of state executions. Because of the number of executions carried out there, the Huntsville Unit has received extensive media attention from newspapers, television networks, filmmakers, and researchers studying the American prison system. The prison became one of the most publicly recognized symbols of the death penalty in the United States. The execution chamber remains one of the most secure and tightly controlled areas within the Texas correctional system, operating under procedures developed through decades of legal oversight, prison administration, and criminal justice policy. Many of the largest prisons in Texas are classified as maximum security facilities, meaning they are specifically designed to contain inmates considered dangerous, violent, or high risk. These prisons hold individuals convicted of serious crimes such as murder, armed robbery, gang-related violence, aggravated assault, and repeat offenses. Because of the threat level associated with many prisoners, security inside these institutions is extremely strict and heavily organized. Maximum security prisons are built with advanced protective infrastructure intended to prevent escapes, reduce violence, and maintain complete control over inmate movement. Tall perimeter fences covered with razor wire surround the facilities, while armed guard towers monitor prison grounds from elevated positions. Entry points are protected by multiple gates, electronic locking systems, metal detectors, and heavily supervised checkpoints. Inside these prisons, inmates are housed according to strict classification systems. Prison officials separate offenders based on factors such as criminal history, gang affiliation, disciplinary records, escape risk, and behavioral assessments. High-risk inmates may be placed in isolated housing units with additional restrictions and closer monitoring. Daily routines inside maximum security prisons are carefully controlled from morning until night. Inmates move according to fixed schedules for meals, recreation, work assignments, medical visits, and educational programs. Correctional officers supervise nearly every aspect of prison life to reduce opportunities for violence or disorder. Surveillance technology plays a major role in maintaining security within these facilities. Security cameras, alarm systems, reinforced doors, communication systems, and electronic monitoring devices are installed throughout prison buildings and corridors. Some high-security areas are monitored continuously around the clock by specialized control rooms staffed by trained officers. The design of maximum security prisons also includes reinforced housing units built to withstand riots, assaults, or escape attempts. Thick steel doors, concrete walls, secured cell blocks, and controlled movement systems make these prisons extremely difficult to breach. Certain sections may operate under lockdown conditions where inmates spend most of their time inside cells with limited interaction. Correctional staff working in these facilities undergo specialized training to handle dangerous situations. Officers are trained in emergency response procedures, inmate restraint methods, conflict management, gang identification, and tactical security operations. Specialized response teams may be stationed inside prisons to react quickly to disturbances or violent incidents. Many high-security prisons in Texas also contain administrative segregation units, sometimes called solitary confinement or restrictive housing. These areas are used for inmates who are considered especially violent, disruptive, or dangerous to staff and other prisoners. Conditions in these units are far stricter than general population housing. Gang activity is another major concern inside maximum security prisons. Prison administrators must constantly monitor communication, inmate relationships, and organized criminal groups operating within facilities. Intelligence units inside prisons gather information to prevent violence, smuggling, or coordinated attacks between rival groups. Healthcare and mental health management are also critical challenges in these institutions. Large populations of inmates with psychological disorders, trauma histories, or violent behavioral patterns require specialized medical supervision. Prison officials must balance security needs with medical care and crisis intervention procedures. Because these prisons house some of the most dangerous offenders in the state, maintaining order requires constant discipline, surveillance, and operational coordination. Every part of the facility, from inmate housing to transportation systems, is designed to maximize control and minimize security risks within the prison environment. The largest maximum security prisons in Texas operate almost like self-contained cities, designed to function independently while managing thousands of inmates and staff members every single day. Because these facilities are enormous and highly secured, they include nearly every essential service needed to support daily life: security, healthcare, maintenance, food distribution, and prison administration within the prison grounds themselves. Inside these prisons, large housing complexes are divided into multiple sections based on inmate classification and security level. Some inmates are placed in general population dormitories or shared cells, while others are housed in restricted or isolated units, depending on their behavior, criminal history, or security risk. Each housing area is supervised by correctional officers who monitor inmate movement, conduct inspections, and enforce prison regulations throughout the day and night. Food operations inside these facilities are massive undertakings due to the large inmate population. Prison kitchens prepare thousands of meals every day according to strict schedules. Inmates line up in controlled groups under heavy supervision while correctional officers maintain order in dining areas. Storage facilities, industrial cooking equipment, and supply distribution systems are all part of the prison's internal infrastructure. Medical services are another essential part of prison operations. Large Texas prisons contain medical clinics, emergency care units, mental health departments, dental facilities, and medication distribution centers. Doctors, nurses, psychologists, and healthcare workers provide treatment to inmates while working under strict security procedures. Some prisons even include specialized treatment areas for inmates with chronic illnesses or mental health disorders. Many maximum security prisons also operate labor and vocational programs inside their facilities. Inmates may work in maintenance departments, prison farms, industrial workshops, laundry operations, furniture manufacturing, cleaning crews, or food preparation areas. These labor programs help support prison operations while also providing inmates with structured routines and work experience. Educational and rehabilitation services are commonly included within prison systems as well. Some facilities offer literacy programs, high school equivalency classes, vocational training, counseling sessions, and religious services. These programs are intended to reduce inmate idleness and provide opportunities for personal development within the correctional environment. Security operations form the core structure of the prison system. Control rooms monitor surveillance cameras, electronic doors, alarm systems, and inmate movement across the entire facility. Armed perimeter patrols, guard towers, and internal security teams work continuously to prevent escapes, violence, and contraband smuggling. Transportation systems inside large prisons are carefully organized because inmates must regularly move between housing units, medical departments, work assignments, visitation areas, and court-related transfers. Every movement is supervised, timed, and documented to maintain strict control over the population. Administrative operations are also extensive within these institutions. Prison administrators manage staffing, inmate records, disciplinary hearings, legal coordination, scheduling, budgeting, security planning, and emergency response procedures. Large correctional facilities require thousands of employees working in rotating shifts to keep operations running 24 hours a day. Maintenance crews continuously repair infrastructure such as plumbing systems, electrical networks, security gates, ventilation systems, and water supplies. Because prisons are heavily used environments with large populations, constant upkeep is necessary to maintain safety and operational stability. Some prison complexes even contain warehouses, supply depots, training centers, chapels, recreation yards, and communication departments, further reinforcing the idea that these facilities operate as independent systems within secured boundaries. Every section of the prison is connected through tightly controlled procedures designed to support order, efficiency, and security across the entire institution. The largest maximum security prisons in Texas also reveal many of the major challenges faced by the modern American correctional system, especially in the areas of rehabilitation, overcrowding, inmate management, and long-term incarceration. Managing massive prison populations inside highly secured facilities is an extremely difficult task that requires constant coordination between correctional officers, administrators, healthcare workers, and government agencies. One of the biggest issues within large prison systems is overcrowding. As inmate populations increase, prisons often struggle to provide enough housing space, medical services, educational opportunities, and staffing resources for every prisoner. Overcrowded facilities can place pressure on security operations and create higher risks of violence, tension, and mental health problems among inmates. In maximum security prisons, overcrowding becomes even more complicated because many inmates are classified as dangerous or high-risk offenders. Prison administrators must carefully separate rival gangs, violent inmates, and individuals with disciplinary histories while still maintaining order across crowded housing units. Limited space can make inmate classification and safe housing assignments more difficult. Rehabilitation is another major challenge inside large Texas prisons. Although correctional systems are intended not only to punish crime but also to encourage reform, rehabilitation programs can be difficult to implement effectively in maximum security environments. Many inmates serving long sentences or life terms may spend years inside heavily controlled conditions with limited access to educational programs, counseling, or vocational training. Mental health issues are especially serious in large correctional facilities. A significant number of inmates suffer from depression, anxiety, trauma disorders, addiction, or severe psychological conditions. Long periods of isolation, stress, violence, and separation from society can worsen these problems. Prisons must provide mental health treatment while still maintaining strict security procedures for dangerous offenders. Violence and gang activity also remain constant concerns within large prison systems. Organized prison gangs can influence inmate behavior, create conflicts, and contribute to smuggling or attacks inside facilities. Correctional officers and intelligence teams work continuously to monitor gang activity, prevent assaults, and maintain control over inmate interactions. Staffing challenges are another important issue. Maximum security prisons require large numbers of trained correctional officers and support staff to operate safely. However, correctional work is physically demanding, stressful, and often dangerous. Officer shortages, long work hours, and high-pressure environments can affect prison operations and employee morale. Healthcare management inside large prisons is also extremely complex. Thousands of inmates require medical treatment, medications, emergency care, and long-term health monitoring. Aging prison populations create additional pressure because older inmates may develop chronic illnesses that require specialized care and expensive treatment programs. Public debate surrounding the prison system continues to focus on whether large maximum security institutions truly succeed in reducing crime and preparing inmates for reintegration into society. Some critics argue that harsh prison conditions and long-term incarceration may increase social and psychological problems rather than solve them. Others believe strict prisons are necessary for public safety and crime prevention. Financial costs are another major concern connected to large prison systems. Operating maximum security prisons requires enormous government funding for staffing, security equipment, healthcare, food services, maintenance, transportation, and infrastructure repairs. Taxpayers ultimately support these systems through state budgets and correctional spending. Technology has also changed prison management over time. Modern facilities rely heavily on surveillance systems, electronic monitoring, computerized inmate tracking, and advanced security communication networks. While technology improves control and efficiency, it also increases operational complexity and maintenance demands. The challenges faced inside Texas maximum security prisons reflect broader national debates about criminal justice, sentencing policies, prison reform, inmate rights, rehabilitation efforts, and the future of incarceration in the United States.